Here we are again. It's the Life Sucks Cookbook. I'm Linda. Thanks for joining me. I realized long after I thought of the name Life Sucks Cookbook, if we shorten it and just make it Life Sucks Cookbook LSC, same initials, Life Sucks Cookbook, Linda Susan Cullen, LSC, LSC. That was completely accidental. Whoa, look at this. Today, date squares. So they're already done. We'll let them cool. I'll turn off the oven and tell you a little story again. This one, well, warning, it's sort of about grief, but it's not sad. Don't worry. And at the end, we're going to eat something tasty, like always. So, back when my husband died, so that was almost 8 years ago now, a couple of weeks after he died, I had to go to my accountant's, so I had to get taxes signed off on and do that. When I was there, he asked me how was I doing, and I said, well, it's, I didn't know how, when I look back at it now, a couple of weeks in, I didn't have a clue how I was doing. You don't. You just have no idea what's around the bend, what's coming, what you're in. You're kind of just stunned. And so he said to me, now my accountant is a very interesting kind of guy. So he said to me, he kind of did this. He said, do you need, because he has for many, many years smoked pot. From what I understood, he had migraines. And they helped. He could have got medical marijuana, but he didn't like it. I guess it wasn't strong enough or whatever, so he would get his own. That seemed to be mostly the reason. I'll take his word for it. Anyway, I said, no, I don't smoke. I don't like inhaling smoke into my lungs. And he goes, oh, I got something for you. So he goes to a cupboard and he pulls out a little plastic syringe thing. He hands me this and he said to me, no more than a grain of rice. And I went, oh, okay. And I said, well, all right, I'll give this a try, because I had CBD oil. We got that for Bob, although didn't really know how to use it, and we were too much in a crisis situation, and you couldn't really depend. You had to get something. It was going to work right away. We had CBD chocolates that people had sent us, so I was eating those. I don't know if they did anything. I don't know if I felt much of anything really. Anyway, I thanked him, and then before I left, once again he said, no more than a grain of rice. I said, okay, noted. So a few days later, my mom was living with me at that time and she had dementia. So we'd had dinner and, I got her off and ready for bed, and her bedroom was upstairs. She was in the main bedroom and I was downstairs in the second bedroom downstairs underneath her bedroom. So I would go downstairs, and there was also a family room, and watch TV. And so I thought, well, I'm not going to drink wine tonight because I've been drinking, wine pretty much I'll try this, what looked like ointment. So I squeezed out, I don't know, grain of rice, basmati rice. And, I stayed up for a little bit and then I went to bed. I don't know, roughly an hour and a half after that, I felt like some giant hand was grabbing a hold of me and pulling me out of sleep. At first I thought, well, this is crappy, because the reason I took this was to hopefully sleep better. So I wake up and I'm lying in bed and I am paralyzed. I couldn't move. I could not move. So I thought, oh, I'm going to die. Whatever it was in that little syringe, this has something, I don't know, horse tranquilizer in there or something, and I'm gonna die. I could not move. Also, my mouth was dry. I couldn't generate any saliva. This freaked me out, and I really had to go to the bathroom. That was another thing. And I thought, how am I going to go to the bathroom? Because I cannot get out of bed. So I lay there for, a while. The first thing that went through my head was, if I die down here in this bedroom, how long, if ever, will it take my mother to realize I'm gone? I have long since popped my clogs. She wouldn't have remembered that I existed. So who knows how long. And then she'd be walking around the house going, what is that? What? God, garbage. The garbage needs to be taken out. I didn't know what to do about that. And then I thought, my late husband's ex-wife also lived. We were in Nanaimo at that time. And she lived there as well. And I thought, okay, maybe I should call her. But number one problem was the phone was across the room, and I just didn't think I could make it to the phone. And then I thought, maybe I should call an ambulance. Once again, the phone was beyond my reach. But then I thought, all right, if the ambulance comes, and now they get me in the ambulance and we're on the way to emergency, and they're saying to me, what is it? And I said, well, it was some kind of weed thing, ointment thing that I took. And where did you get it from? I got it from my accountant. And they would have said, accountant, is that code? Is that code for your drug dealer? The accountant. Okay, we got to search for the accountant. After a few moments of panic, I had to go to the bathroom so bad. So I slid out of bed and I crawled on the floor to the bathroom and dragged myself up out of the toilet. Then I had to get back on the floor when I left. And I had a glass of water that I'd left out in the family room. And I got this water and downed this water because I was so thirsty. And then I crawled back into the bathroom to refill the glass. It was like a desert inside me. Then I got back into bed. And I think actually, when I woke up, it was just sort of beginning. It wasn't at the peak of this. I was desperate for orange juice. I really needed orange juice. But that was upstairs in the kitchen, and I could not figure out how to climb up the stairs. So I just got back into bed, and then I was terrified to go to sleep because I thought, if I go to sleep, I'm dead. I don't know what's in this stuff, but I'm taking my last breath. But eventually I got so tired, I was out. And much to my surprise, at about, 8 o'clock the next morning, I woke up again. That took me at least a day to recover from. I did some Googling after that, and I found that I guess if you have, too strong CBD or too much or whatever, you can have this sort of, I think it's called like a full body high. There was nothing high about it. There was nothing enjoyable about this. But what it will do is it suppresses your saliva glands, so that's why I couldn't get any moisture in my mouth. And it drives your blood sugar down, which I guess is why people get the munchies. And that's why I wanted that orange juice that I could not get to. So yeah, that took a while to get over. And the next time I saw my accountant, I said to him, when you said no more than a grain of rice, did you actually mean a grain of sand? Because that was way too much, way too much. And he said to me, oh, that sounds great. I said, no. No, there was nothing good about that. It was terrifying. So I went back to wine and other baked goods. And that's what we're going to slice into right now. First one's the hardest. Yeah, it's going to... I don't know if it's going to stick together. Oh, there we go. Oh, that's not too bad. It doesn't look bad. I know my producer and I, we were talking about the date to crumble ratio for the perfect date square. So you don't want too much date in the middle. I like a lot of crumble. I thought I didn't have enough at the beginning when I was putting this together, but there might be enough. Might be okay. This is a little crumbly. Maybe I needed more butter. It's the typical Linda Cullen. Nailed it. When I was a kid, my mom made this all the time, and I loved them. And it's pretty easy. It's from the 5 Roses Cookbook, so it's a pretty simple recipe. You can also put orange juice, heat the dates up with orange juice, which I didn't do this time, but I probably ultimately would prefer because the orange juice will then cut the sweetness of the dates a little bit. There we go, date squares. After that little experience with one of the offshoots of weed, my CBD trip, I kind of stayed away from that. So in the end, if I have these moments and when you're on this journey, they come up every once in a while. And so what I do now to handle that is I have myself a yummy date square, which is still kind of warm, and I chat with you, and that makes me feel better. That is warm. You will find the recipe in the description. You'll find the link to the recipe in the description. I believe I got that the second time. Okay, I'll see you next time. Thanks for hanging with me. It's always fun to see you. Link to the recipe in the description.